At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our first speaker of the conference, Mr. Alun Davies, Assembly Member. Originally from Tredegar, he worked as Head of Public Affairs for the UK Atomic Energy Authority, was Director of Corporate Affairs for S4C, and was the Director of his own company, Butte Communications, before becoming an Assembly Member in 2007. During his first term as AM, he sat on a number of Assembly commissions and was Chair of the Rural Development Subcommittee. Following re-election in 2011, he was appointed the Deputy Minister of Agriculture, Food, Fisheries and European Programmes. He is responsible for the development of the agri-food industry in Wales, the provision of support for farmers, the management of fisheries in and around the Welsh coast, and policy and administration of the European Union funds. A very busy individual indeed. And I know, Deputy Minister, that you have a full programme for the rest of the day. However, we are very grateful to you that you actually found a slot in that programme to be with us this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Alun Davies, AM, Deputy Minister for Agriculture and Fisheries.
Thanks very much, Di. And every time I hear my biography being read out, I think that it sounds more and more like an obituary every day. Perhaps I should persuade the Assembly to rewrite it. But it's great to actually be here. I was talking to Gary as we were walking across from the hotel. It's a long time since I've actually been in Llandudno. There was a time when I seemed to spend 3 weekends out of 4 in Llandudno, experiencing all the temptations of various eateries and everywhere else around the town. And it's good to return to have the opportunity to join you today. And it's good to have some time to talk about some of the things, some of the issues facing the industry, but also I share some of the things that are on our minds, and to discuss together how government can, I hope, continue, but certainly maintain and increase its support for the agri-food industries throughout Wales. And you know, I was speaking at a reception in Cardiff Bay on Tuesday evening, and talking to people there about some of the foods we produce in Wales. And I've said this before, and I know some of you here have heard me say it several times before, but I think it bears a repetition that in Wales we are blessed. We're not lucky because it's a result of hard work. It's not luck, it's hard work. But we are blessed with food across all the different sectors that isn't simply world class, but world beating. And we have a product which is something that we can proudly take across the globe, and we can sell, and we can promote, and we can develop an industry based on the knowledge that we are able to produce foodstuffs in Wales, I mean across all the different sectors, that are a stand comparison with that which is produced anywhere in the world. And I think that is something which we should all acknowledge as an excellent and fundamental starting point. I'm very proud of the food we produce in Wales. The lamb and beef play an absolutely crucial and fundamental role in that. And you know, the meats that we produce in Wales are not simply foodstuffs and not simply products and produce, but are emblematic of our country, of our history, of our culture, of our place. And I know that those industries are more successful today because of the work of Hybu Cig Cymru than they would be without the work and support of Hybu Cig Cymru. I will say to Gwyn and his team, you're doing an absolutely fabulous job. We're very grateful, I think, to you for what you do. And I know, Di, with your leadership, that work will continue. It was good to join you yesterday evening to have an opportunity to talk through some of these issues. But in government, you spend a disproportionate amount of time, of course, on the things that cause problems. You know, even the smallest issue, if it's causing you problems, you'll spend a disproportionate amount of time on it. It's good to know that with Hybu Cig Cymru, we can, in government, acknowledge and understand that Hybu Cig Cymru is a part of the role of the public service and the public sector that is working remarkably well, and I think has significant lessons to other sectors and other industries in a way that it demonstrates the role and place of government. I want to say a few words, and I won't speak for long this morning, but I want to just say a couple of words about the role and place of government in terms of supporting producers and stimulating the market. I've been lucky enough myself to see the work that Hybu Cig Cymru has been doing and leading, taking part in trade missions over the last 2 months in both Italy and France. In Italy, we were able to meet Italian importers and retailers, talk to them directly about why they choose Welsh lamb and Welsh beef. We saw at first hand how the Hybu Cig Cymru team approach the possibilities of new trade opportunities with clients. And I want to particularly give Jeff Martin my personal thanks today for the work that you do, Jeff, in Italy, day in, day out, week in, week out, but also the work that you did in terms of supporting and organising that trade mission. I think every lamb producer in Wales should be grateful to you for the work that you do. As a direct result of that trade mission in September, a delegation from one of Italy's top importers has already visited Wales. I hope and I'm confident that this will result in the amount of lamb and beef that we can export to Italy being increased. The second mission was to the CIAL International Trade Fair in Paris last month, one of the largest in the world. The work carried out by Hybu Cig Cymru and by Wales processing companies on the stand was clear to me. Visitors to the stand came from all over the globe, all expressing a clear interest in a high-quality product that is produced here in Wales, a product that everybody, as I've already said, has good cause to be proud of. It is, I believe, a critical role for government to stand behind and to support our industries, to stimulate markets, to stimulate opportunities for, in this case, export, but to stimulate sales. I believe that we need to continue to focus on this bigger picture, not only to maintain existing contracts, but to find new contracts, to increase our exports and to create additional and sustained demand for Welsh lamb and beef. If we're able to create a sustained demand overseas, we know that prices are maintained in the markets here in Wales and in the United Kingdom. I also know that by doing so, we are able to sustain long-term investment and to increase and support the creation of wealth in particularly rural Wales. And I hope that in doing so, we are able to demonstrate that the government is absolutely clear that we are proud of the producers of, in this case, lamb and beef, but also we believe that the challenges that we are meeting and the opportunities that those challenges create mean that the changes that we will see in the industry over the coming years create in themselves new opportunities for greater success. And let me say this, I'm an optimist. I find a note of optimism in different parts of the industry which I haven't seen for some years. We need to capture this momentum and ensure that we are able to create an industry today that will attract the farmers of tomorrow. I spend a considerable amount of my time dealing with issues, and we will be again later this month in Brussels talking about the young farmer schemes, young entrants, new entrants. The greatest incentive to anybody entering any industry is the knowledge that that career is one which is held in high regard, has high status, and will maintain a good quality of life and standard of living for that individual and their family. It is profitability and success that will drive the industry of tomorrow. It is the knowledge that we are able to create prosperity in rural Wales that will drive people into the industry. And I look forward to working with people in this industry and across Wales in order to help work towards shape and create that successful, prosperous and profitable industry in the future. And can I say, too much of my time at the moment is spent in very dark and airless rooms discussing the minutiae of policy and CAP and the rest of it. I don't want our creativity, our imagination and our ambitions to be imprisoned by debate and discussion over the legislation that we are currently agreeing. I'm going to ensure that next year, in 2013, that there will be a renewed focus on food and its place in the government's programme. We are, and I hope we will, and we must, and we need to, ensure that we have structures in place and a framework in place that will sustain producers into the future, producers and processors and retailers. But I believe we must also understand the purpose of that and the objectives of that. I hope in the new year to be able to make a very clear statement on the direction of travel for food policy in the Welsh Government. And I want that to be an industrial policy, an economic policy, but also a social and cultural policy, where we recognise the importance of food, certainly in terms of production and in terms of creation of wealth, but also in terms of its place in a healthy diet and its place in tourism and its place in creating a food culture in Wales that sustains and supports our industries. I want to work with my colleagues in education and in health and in economic development and in elsewhere to ensure that we have a place for food in government that recognises its place at the heart of not only our industry and economic life in Wales, but our social, personal and cultural life in Wales. And can I say, I mentioned CAP. I'm very clear. I said in Llanelwedd last week that isolation and introspection are not good negotiating tools in Europe. It is essential that as a Welsh Government that we focus hard over the coming few weeks and months on getting a good deal, the best possible deal for the industries here in Wales. You can be assured the Welsh Government will invest its time, its resources to do its best and to stand up for the industry in Wales. I believe that in terms of tone, in terms of attitude, in terms of approach, in terms of policy, that the position and place of the Welsh Government is at the centre of gravity in and throughout the institutions of the European Union. We all hear, read and see in the different media sources available to us, debate and discussion about the future of the European Union and our place in it. The Welsh Government is a pro-European government. The Welsh Government is a government that wants to see our country at the heart of a European debate. We want to see Wales shaping the debate, not shouting from the sidelines. The Prime Minister, I hope, will recognise when he talks about his veto, what he actually means is the United Kingdom's veto. And I hope that he understands that in representing the United Kingdom, he has to do more than represent the United Kingdom government. Representing the United Kingdom and not playing to the public gallery in some of the more exotic reaches of the right-wing press is more important than short-term political expediency. The Welsh Government will ensure that there is a strong and positive voice for Welsh agriculture, Welsh producers, Welsh processors and Welsh industry. We will ensure that where decisions are taken in any one of the institutions of the European Union, that there is a strong voice for Wales and that Welsh voices and Welsh interests will be represented. And we will do that in a way which is positive, which is engaging, which is intelligent. I ensure the headlines of today to ensure that we will have the policies that we need for tomorrow. I hope that we are working well together as a community with the agricultural industry and with the food industry. I know that there is a considerable amount of time and work going into modelling and other issues in terms of understanding the impact of changes to CAP. The agricultural industry will be unique. I hope in 6 months we will have the framework of a new CAP agreed. There is no other industry anywhere in the economy that will understand by the end of next year the public support available to it until 2020. No other industry has that support, and no other industry has that understanding of predictable income and predictable levels of public support into the medium-term future. That privilege comes with it responsibilities. That privilege is not simply a means of paying tomorrow's electricity bill or ensuring the business survives from this year to next year. We all together have a responsibility to shape an industry that is able to create the profits that I discussed in my opening remarks. And that means that when we shape the new CAP and the new payment regimes, we have to have in mind not simply my business and your business, my farm and your farm, not simply what we do today and what we want to do tomorrow, but what sort of industry do we want to hand on to future generations? What is the shape of the industry going to be in future years? Where do we want this place to be in 10 or 20 years' time? We can lay down the basis and the foundations for success over the next few years. I will launch a consultation on a new payment regime in the new year. I will launch that debate. The government will lead that debate, the government will inform that debate. But what the government won't seek to do is to dominate that debate. That is a matter for the industry. We will work with individuals, with businesses and communities across Wales to enable people to understand the impact of different payment regimes on their individual businesses, on their communities. But the objectives are, and the objectives will be, shaping an industry that is fit for the future. Shaping an industry where prosperity and the creation of wealth is hardwired. The government will play its part. It'll play its part in terms of stimulating an economic environment where people can be successful. But there's nobody in this room and nobody elsewhere who wants either a minister or a civil servant or anyone else running their business for them. It is a matter for the industry to determine its future. It is a matter of the industry to have that debate with the whole of the agricultural community. But we need to be clear that the objectives are not simply today and tomorrow, this year and next year. The objectives are a far-sighted, long-term shape for the future of the industry. We are already arguing, and I think we will be successful in arguing for a fair transition to area-based payments. We are arguing, and again, I feel we will be successful in arguing for greening of CAP that is both sensible, practical and deliverable. I believe that together, working as government, working alongside organisations, institutions such as Hybu Cig Cymru, we can create an industry that will be world-class, that will be world-beating. Together, we have an opportunity over these coming years that is not simply historic, but isn't simply a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Nothing like that. But we have an opportunity here, today, tomorrow, over the coming months, to do something very special for our children, for future generations, and for this country. Thank you very much.